Well, hello, everyone. Today is January the 4th, 2021. And this is Angela Hooper-Menifield with Menifield and Associates. And it's been a minute since we've had our HR moment. So I could not let another day and definitely not let the first Monday of the new year go by without stepping in and just checking with you guys. And so for those of you who may be new to what it is I try to do on these platforms is every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, as an HR practitioner, I have a master's in public administration, human resources, a couple of HR certifications, and a 30-year history of supervising teams and training and coaching managers and supervisors. So what I try to do is I try to come to this platform and offer some help, some guidance, tips, just so that people can navigate and figure out how to lead and manage. While I work with different demographics, my favorite niche is supervisors because I truly believe that if we can equip our supervisors to coach, train, and lead our team members, we can have a thriving organization. And, John Maxwell is known for saying, everything rises and falls on leadership. And while that is true, I'm also a firm believer of the fact that somebody has to count the widgets, right? We need performance metrics and we need accountability. And we need it in a tangible way. So key performance indicators and things like that. And these are some of the things that are included in supervision. And so while I am definitely a leadership enthusiast and do a lot of training leadership, we got to talk about supervision too, right? So that's just a little bit about me, but I don't want to belabor you because I really want to talk about some of the trends and things that we're going to see in 2021. So, as everybody knows, and I'm not starting this conversation with any facts that are new, but just let's set the table, right? So many of us who have teams and people that we manage and lead, when this arrangement was created, it did not look like it looks today, right? And so, what do I mean by that? I said this today when recording my podcast. And for those of you who have not started listening, please join us. It's titled The Pulse of HR, and you can find it on the platforms. But we were recording an episode, and one of the things that I pointed out was nobody, if you had asked any of us, right, a year ago, excuse me, I'm messing up. But if you'd have asked us a year ago, like, what did we foresee 2020 looking like? So the first week of 2020, nobody would have given you the answer that was, right? Because, we were all coming to work, we were leading and managing people the same traditional way. Many of us actually work for organizations who said teleworking could not happen, right? Like we had 100 reasons why our team couldn't telework. And then this thing we now unaffectionately know as COVID-19 appeared, and we had to shift everything. And here's what we know. And again, as an HR professional, as well as a former manager, supervisor, and trainer, the way we lead, the way we supervise, and the way we manage has to change. So for a lot of us, the rest of 2020 was all about getting through, right? Like it was just like, how do I make it through? Some of us spent most of 2020 even begging it to go away, right? We were just trying to survive. But guess what? Okay, we survived 2020. Now, let me say this, because I don't want to sound like I am dismissing those who didn't. First, let's say I am so saddened by the many of people who did not make it to 2021, especially those impacted by COVID-19. And I think many of you know, I actually lost my dad last year, not to COVID, but 2020 was rough for me too. So we made it through, right? But now we have to, as leaders and managers and those who have the authority to make decisions about the lives of other people, we got to get a game plan. And so as we start 2021, and for a lot of us, today was the first day back at work, we need to really begin to think about how are we going to manage? And so these are some of the things we'll be talking about on our HR moments. And If there's a topic in particular that you need help or guidance in, let me know and I'll definitely do my research and give you my input. But here's a couple of things I want to leave you with just going into the new year. If by chance last year did not end with your team, now I'm talking about that supervision leading component, right? The way you wanted it to, just like we like to look at the first of the year, starting with a clean slate, right? Many of us have resolutions, or we said we're going to eat cleaner, we're going to start exercising. Like today, I was on Facebook and I saw people talking about, oh, I worked out, first workout of 2021, right? This is the time of year to start over. And as a supervisor and leader, one of the things that I often like to do is have what one would call that line in the sand meeting. Sometimes it's just it's a great time to clean the slate. So don't bring the garbage, the baggage, the animosity, the distrust, and all those emotions from last year into this year. But some of the trends that we are, researchers say are the prognosticators, right? Because this is not Angela's data. They talk about different things that are going to come into play. And so, of the things that I've been reading, the one that I wanted to talk a little bit about today was the continuation of flexible working. As I said earlier, many of us are in organizations that a year ago, we would have told you it was impossible for our employees to do the work that they do for our organization from home. And now we're asking them to use their own internet to do it so we can get the work done, right? So funny how a year has changed our perspective. But here's what we know. In some industries and in some operations, people are not ever going back to a workplace, right? A physical workplace where they sit in cubicles next to their team members and things like that. And so some of us are at that point now that we really need to leverage and figure out, how do I effectively manage remotely while not also micromanaging? Another thing is, even though we've become more flexible with the remote working, there's going to be a need to be flexible with scheduling. For years, and we talked about this somewhat on the podcast today. When I worked for the federal government, I couldn't wait till I finally got to a point in my career and within a division that I could have an alternate work schedule. And so for me, that meant I could be off every other Friday or any given day. I picked Friday. It also meant that I could work a 5, 4, 9. So I worked 5 days one week. I worked 4 days the second week in that pay period. And I typically worked a 9-hour day. Some organizations did 4, 4, 10s. But my point is, this was the government's way of trying to create some flexibilities. Where COVID has brought some new, unique situations to workplaces. And again, every workplace is not the same, because some of us still have to physically go to our clients. We have to be in situations where we don't get those flexibilities. But many of you are now managing and leading teams that want and need this degree of flexibility. And so I think it's important that you start to think into and have these conversations. Like, how can we, as the work partner or the manager in organization, make it easier for people to do what they need to do and what they want to do? Of course, the job has to get done. And so I like to look at it as sometimes how we work with independent contractors, right? Many of you have worked with people like me, an independent contractor, and you tell me that you need me to complete a task or deliver content, give you a deliverable. And this is the wage for it, or this is the price for it, right? And so what happens is I go into my little world, and sometimes I might be up to 4 o'clock in the morning, because you don't care when I do it. You just know you need it done and when you need it done by. And for a lot of supervisors and managers, it's hard to manage that way. We want to know people clocked in at 8 o'clock and left at 4:30, took only a 30-minute lunch, didn't run an errand. But guess what? We live in a different world, right? Like, for my different world fans, like, it's a different world, right? Because people are homeschooling. They're trying to navigate parental care. They're trying to figure out telehealth appointments. There is so much going on right now. And I don't foresee it changing any significantly in the next couple of months. I hope it does. But again, some of us may find we'll never go back to the way it was. So there's just a lot of things that we have to think about. And so my guidance and advice to you is number one, don't try to figure it out alone. There are people like me, contractors, and people who are paid to figure out how to do what it is you want to do and do it in a way that helps you get done what needs to be done. We create structure, procedures, processes, train people, help you with the conversation. Maybe you may not have even thought it out, right? Like, how do I do this? And how do we get agreement? So here's a couple of things I do want to encourage you not to do, even if you don't do what I told you to do. Don't sit down by yourself somewhere and think through all the issues and come up with all the solutions alone. Because guess what? Nobody's buying into them. You want buy-in, you want collaboration. And collaboration is all about us starting the conversation together. So it doesn't mean you think about it and then you bring me your resolution or your solution and then give me an opportunity to yay or nay it. Now, we appreciate the opportunity to yay or nay it, but that's not the definition of collaboration. And that's why many supervisors and leaders don't get buy-in. So think through what some of the challenges are, right? Some of the obstacles or challenges, but also what are the opportunities? What are some of the things we can do to leverage or up level what we're already doing? Where do we need to pivot? What do we need to do differently? But it can't be a only you solution, because guess what? It can be the best ideal in the world. There's a high percentage that nobody else is going to say yes to it, or they're going to tell you yes. And then they're going to go back somewhere else and do something else, right? People need to know that you validate and value their opinion. And one of my favorite sayings is people can't hear you until they've been heard. So we have to really hear people. And how we do that, again, is the collaborative meetings. So for many of us, this is new. This is challenging. And again, like I say, a lot of us told ourselves if we can just get through 2020, well, now we got to get through 2021. But it's my hope and prayer that 2021 brings with it a renewing, a refreshing, again, an opportunity to just look at things with a different perspective. I know a lot of, like I said, unpleasant things happened in 2020, but we made it through. And so I want to celebrate that. So we're going to use some of our HR moments moving forward, talking about other aspects and things that we need to talk about. So one of the things that, the HR, again, prognosticators and pundits talk about is going to be a trend. It's how we monitor employees, right? About coaching, leadership, perennials, right? Like there's going to be this new demographic. So millennials and baby boomers, and they talk about perennials. So there's a lot of things on the horizon. And of course, as an HR practitioner, I definitely want to stay abreast of these things. And so these are some of the topics that we'll be bringing to our HR moment on our Monday, Wednesday, Friday broadcast. So now, I know I'm a little late tonight. I'm still out of town. I won't be back home until next week. But I couldn't not, fulfill my obligation and commitment to you guys. So don't forget to feel free to comment, send me a message, follow me on social media, but tell me what it is that could really help you make a difference in 2021. The last thing I want to say is this. So many of you know I'm also one of the co-founders of the Black Entrepreneurs Institute. And this year we're going to be talking about, so watch our show live tomorrow night on the Empowered Living Network or Facebook page, as well as it'll be on my page and the Black Entrepreneurs Institute page. But we're going to talk about our goals for this upcoming year. And we really, as we were thinking into the content that we want to talk about tomorrow night, we talked a lot about just upping that degree of intensity, right? Even if it's just by one, right? Perfection isn't required of us. Excellence is something that comes when we give a little bit more effort at times. And so I want to use, again, this platform to help you as a leader and a supervisor up level, take it up just one additional metric, degree, point, or whatever. So come watch us tomorrow night. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But also, again, come here and share with me what are those areas, those skills, competencies that you really need to up level, or that you're good in and you want to go from good to great, right? So feedback is always appreciated. Um, I just do this because I know that it has helped people and I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from it. And I guess I see it as my way of giving back because I had a lot of people who helped me, and I made a lot of mistakes too. So if I can prevent you guys from making some of the mistakes I've made in the past when managing and leading people, then it's not in vain. So again, I'm not caught up in how many people watch. I'm just caught up in the right people watching. So again, thank you guys. Welcome to 2021. I send nothing but positive energy and positive vibes to everybody. Take care of yourself. Please stay safe, right? Please stay safe. And I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.